Hello out there, awesome family, awesome radio family. So, thank you for joining us on 107.5 FM and 1570 AM WECU every Tuesday from 2 to 3 p.m. Are you ready to learn, engage, and inspire? That's great. Welcome to Let's Talk K-12 Education. I'm your host for the next 50 minutes, Tonitia Langley, education enthusiast, thought leader, and founder of Enrichment Strategist Services, LLC, an education consulting business. You want to connect with me? Connect with me on Linktree /enrichment strategist. I'm so excited to partner with you and be dedicated to the heart of our community, which is education. I'm the host, but you and the community mean the most. I would love for you to share your suggestions of what you would love to get more information in relation to K 12 education. If you have some suggestions, please give us an email here at Let's Talk K12Education at gmail.com. Again, email us at Let's Talk K12Education at gmail.com. I'm excited to get started. So, on last week's show, we explored the topic of daycare to school preparedness with Tissa Brown, and we provided tons of information regarding the topic. If you would like a recap of those tools and resources for that show, and in fact, for any other previous Let's Talk K-12 education shows, catch us on the replay and comment hashtag replay by heading on over to Facebook, punch in Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. Look for the pretty purple and green. Or if you don't do Facebook, no problem. Head on over to YouTube, and it's www.youtube.com at Awesome Radio WECU. And again, look for the purple and green logo. And if you see that, then you're at the right place. So, going to open up our show today with our topic of discussion, the art of behavior management. And ladies and gentlemen, educators, teachers, families, and friends, radio listeners and viewers, you're getting a whole masterclass today. Part one. So I'm going to open it up with a thought provoker. Imagine a classroom where students are engaged, motivated, and behaving appropriately. No disruptive outbursts, no off-task behaviors, just a harmonious learning environment. Sounds like a dream, right? But what if I told you this dream could be a reality? Today, we're diving deep into the world of behavior management, exploring effective strategies that can transform your classroom into a haven of learning and growth. By exploring the art of behavior management, we can create classrooms where students feel safe, respected, and motivated to learn. Let's work together to build a brighter future for our children. So, guys, I know that, I can hardly wait to get started today with our topic because, man, I cannot wait to get started with this master class today. So, with being a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a former middle school teacher, and a grandmother to 8 school-aged children, and currently an education consultant and coach, I recognize the importance of the ability to have critical thinking skills. And these ladies, the one to the left, one to the right, no, that is a very hard skill, even for the seasoned teacher. So lean in and listen up. Let's get warmed up and ready for our show today with How is Your Brain Game to drive your K-12 educational mindset shifts out of park into drive. Let's engage your critical thinking skills for school, homework, and school tasks with your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, godchildren, and the whole crew. So here's a riddle. I'm a tool that guides with care to shape young minds and make them aware. I help to steer, to mend, to teach, a gentle hand, a helping reach. What am I? Behavior management. If you have teasers for How Is Your Brain Game segment and you would like to have them shared on the show, again, email us at Let's Talk K-12 Education at gmail.com. So, got a little brain game fun fact today from AI University, and this is regarding our topic today. So, did you know that positive reinforcement has been shown to be 5 times more effective than punishment when it comes to improving student behavior? Studies also show that acknowledging and rewarding good behavior can create lasting positive habits, whereas punishment only works temporarily and can increase negative emotions like anxiety and frustration. We're not even going to talk about the other stuff that can happen. So this can, I want this to lead up to our discussion about the power of positivity in behavior management, highlighting how encouragement can transform classroom dynamics. Research suggests that students who feel connected to their teachers, which is something that we're going to get in our master class today, and peers are more likely to exhibit positive behavior. Building strong relationships and creating a sense of belonging can go a long way in preventing and addressing behavioral issues. Now, listen, let's get ready to talk about these. Let me introduce to you my awesome and talented guests that will add great information, tools, and resources in this masterclass regarding the art of behavior management. Let me start off with Jennifer Krajna. Jennifer Krajna has been teaching since 1998. What age was I then? But anyway, she started teaching fourth grade in Tarboro. She then taught fifth and sixth grades until she transitioned to Pitt County in 2010. She taught seventh grade math and is still currently teaching. She received her master's degree in administration in 2001 from ECU. Now, she is very, very modest, and I'm not going to say anything, but she's not tooting her horn, but I'm going to toot it for her. Okay. Miss Jennifer Krajna, I love and adore her. She actually was my mentor teacher when I started and I'm trying not to cry. Why am I getting ready to cry? Oh. Okay. She was my mentor teacher. Oh my gosh. When I started as a non-traditional, I had about 3 years under my belt as a remediation teacher when I started as a full-time classroom teacher. And Jennifer Krajna, this girl from upstate New York, I was like, oh, she's gonna be easy. And I was like, oh wow, she's a wild hair. But when I tell you, transitioning from being a remediation teacher, which I did a fabulous job, helped schools with their AYP, the whole 9 yards. So when I started as a full-time classroom teacher, I was clueless, and she knew it. She was very nice and sweet about it. So she was my beginning teacher. And we ended up team teaching because we shared the same kids until I started teaching the entire sixth grade social studies. So Jennifer Krajna, I love myself some you, and I cannot wait for you to get into this discussion, this masterclass today, and brought you in on this masterclass because you can do behavior management like no other, but we'll get to all of that. So if you guys look on the other side of me, you used to seeing that beautiful lady. She's been here, been a contributor several times on different topics, but that is Miss Tiffany Proctor. She's on the ed consultant team that we have, and we've done a body of work working with Nigerian teachers, and she's been a contributor. This is about your third or fourth time, Tiffany?
Yes, ma'am. I believe third time.
Yes, at least the third time. So Tiffany is the owner of It's a New Day Consultant and brings 24 years of experience in education to the table, specializing in school counseling. That's why I brought it in on this masterclass, behavior management, MTSS, oh my lordy, and
Mm,
adult education. Tiffany has dedicated her career to empowering students and educators alike. Her expertise and passion for making a difference in the lives of others truly make her a leader in the field. So I wanted to provide some education and context around behaviors that might be more apparent and noticeable, usually during this time before the K-12 school holidays. It's what us educators term as the ending of the honeymoon phase of a new school year wearing off. Because they
mm,
come in all adorable and sweet, and you just like,
mm.
oh my gosh, it's just the sweetest kid. We just gonna have a great time ever. And then round about October, you're like, oh, wait, is that the same kid? So I
The real
wanted
you.
to, exactly, I wanted to do this series for families and for educators alike. So the goal of the Art of Behavior Management, a masterclass, is to provide our listening audience and viewers of educators, parents, and community members with practical strategies and insights for effectively managing student behavior in K-12 schools. By exploring the underlying causes of misbehavior, implementing positive reinforcement techniques, and building supportive relationships, participants will learn how to create a positive and productive learning environment for all students. So, I usually get into all of this about um, the goal of the show, but we'll circle back to that because I'm just ready for you guys to get some of this that I got for about 7 years. Honestly, that was we worked together. I have a few myths and I have a few realities. I will do one and get you guys to chime in on it, and then we're going to bring Miss Jennifer Krajna in and let her go on and, as they say, bussin' this behavior management masterclass. So here's a myth, ladies, and I want you guys to chime in on it. Um, it says some students are just bad kids and can't be helped. The reality says all behavior has an underlying cause, and students labeled as troublemakers often have unmet emotional, psychological, or social needs. Empathy, connection, and individualized support can make a significant difference in helping students develop more positive behavior and patterns. So I want you, both of you, one of you, to chime in on that one before Krina gets started on her piece. So what do you guys have to say about that? Some students are just bad kids and can't be helped.
No.
Not at
So,
all.
mm-mm, mm-mm. Um, I know I'm probably supposed to wait for this, but I have a perfect example for the bad kid.
Go with it.
Um, okay, you probably know Langley, but so I don't remember. It was back when I was teaching, not at the current school I'm in. Boy came to my classroom with a ankle bracelet on his leg.
Mm-hmm.
I was warned about him, that he
Mm-hmm.
had charges, a gun charge.
Mm-hmm.
Came to class. Well, he didn't come to my class first. Actually, he came across the hallway. I peeped out because me being nosy. I'm like, really? Sure enough, he had a box on his leg. Come to class, in my class, the box starts beeping. I start freaking. I'm thinking the cops are coming to my room. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, no, no, I got to plug it in.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, he got himself together. Uh, doing great. I
Yep.
even wrote a letter to the judge, doing great, yada
Mm-hmm.
yada. Come to find out on the
Mm-hmm.
news, he gets a federal charge because he's driving in a car with his buddies. They throw the gun to him. Since he had private charges, he gets busted. So, me being myself, I kept in contact with him, like, wrote him letters when he went to wilderness camp, whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Pull up to Dairy Queen one day, and sure enough, he climbs through the drive-through window. Miss Krajna, is that you?
Oh.
I'm like, what are you doing? But what are you doing? And I was like looking at me. I said, what you doing? To graduate, I mean, classic case scenario. Have they labeled him as bad? Absolutely. He was labeled before he even came to my classroom.
That's true.
Um, Labeled, and everybody gets that. You get the class roster, everybody goes, oh, you look at my kids, look at my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Class example. I still keep up with him to this day. Um, Labeled bad. I mean, got in some serious stuff.
Yep.
However, I had a great relationship with him. Like I said, I still keep up with him to this day.
Good.
And was he labeled bad? Absolutely. Did he have troubles? Absolutely. He even had more troubles than that, family wise.
Right.
But classic example. build a relationship, which I'm going to
Mhm.
talk about,
Mhm.
and they can connect it to you.
And he did fabulous at our
He
school.
did.
So,
He
Tiffany,
did.
you want to chime in and give a little piece of that, and then we're going to go ahead and let Jennifer. And so weird to call you Jennifer because I'm used to calling you Krajna all the time.
Right.
You know, let Jennifer go ahead and open us up on our master class before we
No,
get ready to head to break. So chime in,
honestly,
Tiffany, on
that
that.
no, honestly, that was a perfect example. I was thinking of multiple kids that, needed the relationship building
Mhm.
to someone to connect with them and so that they can continue to know that they can thrive because they may not have that in the outside world. So
That's
when
true.
Right.
they have that connection to you and you are consistent with them and you show them
Mhm.
Yes.
consistently that you care, you're going to
Mhm.
get that outcome, and that's a
Yep.
perfect story.
Yep.
So that is so you are dispelling the myth.
I
So
am.
Oh, of
thank you,
course.
ladies. Okay, so Krajna, we got about 5 minutes before we're
All
heading
right.
into our first break. Going to go ahead and hand this masterclass over to you. Take them to
Okay.
school.
Okay. So it's funny because I asked my class today. I said, "Guess what I'm doing today?" I said, "I'm going to be on a radio show, and you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about behavior management." And they all said, "Oh, don't worry, Miss Krajna, you got that." I said, "So tell me more about that." I said, "What makes me, the way I am?" And they all said the same things. They said, "Miss Krajna, you are strict," and I said, "You're right."
Mhm.
They said, "Miss Krajna, you have expectations of us." I said,
Mhm.
"Yes, I do." But
Mhm.
then they said what I hope they would say. They said, and it's going to make me cry. "Miss
Mhm.
Krajna, we know that you care about us."
Mhm.
And I said, "Thank you." Everyone in my classroom, right? And I started, "Thank you." And I didn't solicit any responses. I said, "I'm gonna take what you're gonna say and I'm gonna say it on the radio." They're like, "Oh, you're gonna give us a shout out, Miss Krajna?" I'm like, "Okay, okay." So before we go to break, that is probably the main thing. Is my talking points. Number one, you have to have a relationship with your children. Have to. But the key is it has to be genuine
Yes, it does.
because children will know that you are fake from the moment you walk in that
Mhm.
class.
That's
Now,
true.
teachers go around and say, "Hey, I like my kid." They know whether you like them or not.
That's
They are
true.
the first ones. You can
Mhm.
fake it with an adult, and an
Yep.
adult will think that you love them, but
Yep.
you cannot fake it with a kid.
Nope.
Cannot.
Nope.
That is my utmost thing. And I wish that I could go into a college classroom because they tell you to put all them posters on the wall of your rules, and I've never had a poster to this day. I have
Mhm.
one poster in my room, and it says rule number one: we are a family.
That's true.
Because
Love it.
right after we take our break, we're talking about Title I schools, and all of the kids I have ever dealt with always talk about family. They call each other brother and sister. Hey, where's
Mhm.
my aunt? And they're not even related. And
Mhm.
so I took that spin and I'm like, okay, then we're a family in the classroom. I spend 9 hours a day with you, more than I
Mhm.
do with my own child sometimes. I
Mhm.
said, so we are a family.
Yes.
So yes,
And you create a family environment. This I know.
I do. Yes, I
Mhm.
do.
Mhm.
I said, because I talk to you like I talk to my son. I mean, I don't talk to you any differently. And so it's funny. They said, "Well, you're like that with him." I said, "Absolutely." And they're like, "Well, Miss Grundy, you're loud." I am. I said, "That's just the way I am. I am where I am." I said,
Mhm.
"But," I said, "I love you all." And you know what they said? They said, "I know." And so kids know exactly who loves them, who doesn't, who's
Mhm.
fair, who's not. And,
Mhm.
like I said, that is my only rule. I've never had posters up on my wall. Never. And when I get questioned about it, I tell them why. I said, I don't need it. My kids know from day one my expectations. Day
Mhm.
one. I don't start with the team building because I just build it with my kids as I go along in the school year.
Mhm.
My thing is you need structure, which is number two.
Yep. Yep.
Everybody likes structure.
Yes.
Adults,
Mhm.
kids. And I asked my kids that too. As a matter of fact, I said, "So you like structure?" And they all nodded. And I
Mhm.
said, "You do?" And they said, "Yes." I said, because then they said, "Well, Miss Cronin, when I go to so and so's room, they're a little lenient and we get away with it." I said, "You do." I said, "But you come
Mhm.
in here, we do our work." I said, "Absolutely."
That's right.
So, yeah, I say number one, you could put the posters up all you want to, but if those kids don't know that you care about them or you have a relationship with them, you're not going to get anywhere. Anywhere. Um, Number two, you have to have the structure. You have to, like I said, from day one, I don't start the team building stuff. I start my routines with my kids day
Yes.
one.
Yes.
Um, we do math day one. We do what I expect you to do when you walk in my door to the time you walk out.
Mhm.
Because the joke is, I said, even if I'm laying dead on the floor, you know what to do. Just step over me and go about your business. We'll have somebody else come in. I got somebody you can take over, but you know what to do. And
That's
my
right.
kids know that. They
Now
absolutely know that.
that I do know. That I do
Hmm.
know. Now what I'm gonna do, because we
Hmm.
have about less than a minute. Um, You said some real key things there, and I'm going to touch on
Mhm.
them before I get ready to take us into break. That consistency and routine, because even us as adults, we get bent out of
Mhm.
shape when we don't really
Yes.
know. Even the best of us who are very structured individuals, and you're consistent. That I do know by
Mhm.
being
Mhm.
your mentee for 3
Mhm.
years on the probationary period. So, um, we are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll continue with the masterclass on the art of behavior management for educators, students, and their families that can foster effective management to impact student learning. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Let's Talk K-12 Education Show on Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM, where we make education everyone's business. We'll be right back after this short message. All right, welcome back to Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. You can find us here talking about all things education every Tuesday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. right here. We're on Let's Talk K-12 Education. You can also find us on Facebook. Awesome Radio 107.5 FM and 1570 AM with that beautiful purple and green logo. If you don't do Facebook, not a problem. Head on over to YouTube. We're over there. You can find us there on www.youtube.com at Awesome Radio WECU. And again, look for that purple and green logo. Have some suggestions for the How is Your Brain game, have some K-12 topics you want to talk about. I want to hear from you. Email us at let's talk K12education at gmail.com with topics or any of the How is Your Brain game riddles that you want to have discussed on the show. So, before the break, we got into our master class. We dispelled the two experts on behavior management, dispelled a myth about all kids are bad. And then Jennifer Krajna went on and took us to school with the master class for the art of behavior management. So, Krajna, I'm going to go ahead and let you pick up from there. And let's continue the discussion in this master class, the art of behavior management.
Okay, so like I said, number one, building relationships, but building the right relationships, building the ones that are genuine with the kids, and not building that relationship because you're told to build relationships.
Yep.
Because, like I said, they can tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Number two, we're talking about structure. As a classroom teacher, you can tell it's going to be a day when there's picture day, when you have to go to the gym for an assembly, when you have a 2 hour delay because your day, is going to be off. Because why? Their structure's not the same.
Yep.
As soon as you put up that 2 hour delay schedule,
Yep.
it's over because it's
Mm-hmm.
a change in their schedule. Any
Yeah.
type of change throws the kids off, just like we do. You wake up in the morning and you're
Yep.
like, oh, it's a 2 hour delay. Oh, my schedule's changed. So having that structure is shown every day with those kids and they
Mm-hmm.
know what to expect. And when I do something different, I very rarely do, but they're like, "What? We're not doing this. We're not doing that." Because
Exactly.
literally, when they walk in my room, I don't really have to say much to them. They know
Mm-hmm.
who passes out the papers, who's going to do what we doing next, and they get the flow. And
Mm-hmm.
so now I'm at the point in October where I really don't have to say much. You know, Bobo gets up, passes out the papers, we sit down, we do this, we do next, and we do next, and bathroom time, it just flows. And that's one thing I try to tell new teachers is you start structure from day one. They're like, well, Miss
Day
Craddock,
one.
don't you have to do the whole? No, I don't do the hokey pokey. I really don't. Like I said, I learn
Mm-hmm.
my kids as we go. So structure number two. Number three, especially with Title One children, is being fair.
Yeah.
Fair with everybody.
Very
Everybody.
consistent. Mm-hmm.
Fair and consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Kids can't stand it when you say, well, Juju over there didn't get ISS because you did the same thing and you wrote up with so and so, but you didn't write up so and so. They can
Mm-hmm.
see that in a heartbeat. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
very cautious about, and I say it to him. I said, well, I told him no. I'm telling you no. I told
Mm-hmm.
her no. You can't hand this in late. Now I'm not telling you because kids cannot stand that, and they'll come to you and say, listen, Miss So and So, well, she didn't do this, and they're absolutely right.
It's true.
And so many times, teachers are quick to throw in the, well, I'm just going to write you up. Well, I'm just going to write you up. And then the
Right.
kids are like, well, you wrote up so and so, but you didn't
Right.
write up me.
Right.
Um, So that's a big thing with the kids as well, being fair. And think about as an adults, we do want the same thing.
Exactly.
If so and so is getting a memo because they were late, but Lulu over here didn't get it, we're the same way.
So Krajna,
Yeah.
I want to get you guys to chime in. So
Okay.
you're saying it, but let's go ahead and call a thing a thing. So
Okay.
what you're alluding to is Bobo or Bobette is your is your star child that
Yes.
never gets in trouble and turns in their homework.
Yes.
That's what you're alluding to. So I'm
I
I'm not
am.
in the system, but I'm gonna say that that's what that is. So
I am.
Tiffany, add a little bit to that and let her finish the master class. Have you seen it? And I'm glad.
Of
And what I do
course.
know is from Krajna, I learned the same thing. Like, no, Bobette is a star student, but when they
Mhm.
mess up, they're dealt with swiftly,
That's
firm,
right.
fair, and consistent. So,
That's right.
Tiffany,
Mhm.
add a little taste that we got about 5 minutes before we head into our
No,
break.
that the biggest thing you said with that is the consistency. Kids, they will call you out on it, so you have to
Yep.
be. And when you build those relationships with your peers as well as educators, I can call out a teacher on it. Like, hey,
Come on.
when you did this,
Mm.
we noticed it, and the
And
students
Krajna
were
will
talking about
do
it.
just
Oh
that.
yeah. So this is why that's exactly why I built relationships because I had to call out several teachers, but
That's right.
not so much in front of the students because that's another battle. You
Right.
don't ever
Mhm,
want to do that.
Right.
But hey, I just want to call your attention to it. You told me you wanted to grow in this area, but I
mhm,
saw that you treated the two situations that were similar, you treated them very different.
Yeah.
mhm.
That can, a lot of other things can come in, your bias, whether
Yes.
you know it or not.
Yep.
Mhm.
And so just making them aware so that you can change that because you will ruin the student's trust and relationship right off the
Oh
bat.
yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Thank you for letting me butt in on that because you were being
It's
very
good.
kind, Krajna. So I was like, no,
I
let me go ahead
was.
and call a thing a thing. Go ahead and finish the master class.
Okay. I'm gonna throw this one in here because I think it's important. You have to have humor with these children. You
Yes,
absolutely
you do.
do. And you have
Absolutely.
to be a little crazy. And so I
Mhm,
always tell them, I gotta be a little more crazy than they are because it helps because they your day is hard enough what you
yes.
do and what you do
Mhm,
every day that you have to have humor. Whether
mhm,
it's
Mhm.
something stupid or
mhm,
whether whatever, you have to have some kind of sense of humor.
mhm,
Um and the kids like it too. I tell dad jokes all day long and they love it. They're like, Miss Carter,
mhm.
you got a joke? And so they're quick to do it. But it depends on my class. If it's one certain class, I do a little more raw humor. If it's the other
Right.
class, I do a little more,
Right.
oh, why did whatever. So you got to know your kids, but they love the humor too because it's kind of like that's just life. Everybody likes to laugh, so I do
Mhm,
humor and I do a little
Mhm.
crazy with my kids. Um, I don't know if that gives me more respect, but I do what I do. I get
mhm,
crazy with the adults too. It's fine.
mhm.
Um, and my last one is you have to have a good relationship with your parents. Now, I'm
Ooh.
not talking about that you are friends with the parents because, and
Mm-mm.
somebody once said this to me, they're your good relationship until they're not, until that kid has done something, and then you have to have the flip conversation with them. Um, and I've done that too, where all of a sudden you have to flip the script and say, oh my God, they got suspended for 5 days because they were vaping in the bathroom. So,
Mhm, mhm,
um, and not only with their parent, but like the whole family. So, when I still go out in the
Mhm.
community, I'm driving through Little Caesars and one of our little ones is saying, "Hey, Miss Grant, is that you? I'm giving you a free 2 liter." It's like you friend, you do it with the family because chances are you're going to get little Bobo 2 years down the line when they
Oh
come
yeah.
to fourth
Mhm.
grade.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Mhm.
so that's a key too. And when you go in the community, it helps with the relationship too
It
because if you
does.
say, "Oh, hey, how's your dad? How's your mom? Grandma's good." Blah blah blah.
Mhm.
Mhm,
That's another building with the children as well. But once again,
mhm,
you have to make sure that you're doing it with fidelity and not just asking
mhm,
flip. Well, how's
mhm,
grandma?
mhm.
And the
Yeah.
kids love it too because they like it when you ask about their family, and it goes back
Mhm.
to being family oriented in your classroom as well.
Mhm.
So everything that you said, just it's like I can see us at our school on our
Yes.
hallway with everything that you're saying. It just brings back so many good memories,
Yeah.
Jennifer. And I got to stop calling you crying while we're on the air, but brings back so many beautiful memories with those things and the humor.
Yes.
Tiffany, I'm gonna tell you, we would be Krajna would have us laughing. She ran a tight ship, but she
Mhm.
was funny. I know that
Mhm.
I was called the funny, nice, mean teacher And I can't remember, they may have called her the same thing, but when I say I would be crying. She would have us, because she was so, she ran a tight ship, and you just wouldn't believe that she would have the humor and have us cutting up, and and she alluded to, we're talking about Title I schools, and she is a unicorn in and all of herself. So when the kids first came in, I know we got about 40 seconds before we go to break. When the kids first see her, oh, they're like, oh, we're going to have you for mincemeat. No, she's going to have you for mincemeat. So it was always just so unique when they really found out who she was. But listen, let's put that in the crock pot. If we have some time, we're going to circle back. But we're going ready to go take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll continue this masterclass. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Let's Talk K-12 Education Show on Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5 and 1570 AM, where we make education everyone's business. We'll be right back after this short message. Welcome back to Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM and 1570 AM WECU, promoting educational equity for the families in our listening and viewing community. I'm the host, but you and the community mean the most. Please email us your K-12 educational suggestions or topic ideas at Let's Talk K-12 Education at gmail.com. Before the break, Jennifer took us to school with the masterclass, the art of behavior management, and how she has been highly effective in that, and given us some practical strategies and tips in how to cause these learning environments and how to start from day one. Now, got another expert that's getting ready to get into this masterclass. So Tiffany, pick up and go ahead and take us back to school with the masterclass, The Art of Behavior Management. Take them to school.
Back to school. Okay.
Take them to school.
Well, Jennifer, you did an amazing job opening the schoolhouse. One thing that Jennifer mentioned was talking about like having all those posters and all that cute stuff up. And what I would tell teachers is this: if you don't have behavior management and classroom management down pat, you will not be able to teach that lesson that your college taught you.
Yes.
You're not going to be able to open your mouth until you get those systems and structures and routines in place. So when you say, I mean, when I stand up, I'm 4'11". I taught high school emotional behavioral disorders. I also did K-12 with it, but mostly my high school boys were all big boys coming into the classroom. So the structure had to be in place. I'm not a scary figure, when you stand up. That's not what you wanted. You wanted genuine connection with your students. And I'm telling you, that took time. So when your principals and, building area leaders come in and like, why you're not teaching such and such? Well, we cannot do that until we do this. And so I was able to help. I was able to help teach them how we can effectively get content taught. Yes. Because I saw so many teachers crying and just having a time and can't get this beautiful lesson that they spent all weekend. I'm talking about practicing with their friends and everybody. It was a beautiful lesson, but you couldn't get it out. So I always said, just stop and pause and think about from everything. The moment you open your classroom door, what are the expectations? Do that consistently. I will write on the board, consistency. Because if you're not consistent, it can't be today I can stand on the table and tomorrow I can't. That is not going to work. If I can't stand on the table today, I cannot ever stand on the table.
That's right.
So it was always teaching to stay consistent. And while you're doing that, be consistent. I would tell people, if you're mean, be consistently mean.
That's right.
Don't flake out on it. Don't flake out on the kids. If that's how you're presenting, you want to be the mean person, don't be nice tomorrow.
There we go.
And so my students knew this lady cared for me 100%. Like, she really is going to go to bat for me, but she's not going to put up with none of my mess. And they
Yes.
knew that. And so
Yes.
we could be in the hallway, expectations are the same. We can be in the
That's right.
cafeteria, expectations are the same. It could
That's
be a
right.
fight in the hallway. My students are lined up.
There we go.
We're going into the classroom. So, and it wasn't, they was like, well, are you instilling fear? Oh, come on, I'm 4'11". What fear am I going to instill in the 6'4", 240 student that's like, yes, ma'am, I'm sitting down? No, that wasn't me. I got you. I'm sitting down. Because I was consistent. I communicated with them and their parents. With every parent, I made phone calls, and it would be that positive call. Hey, I'm Mrs. Proctor. You know, I'm so glad your students in my class. I want to tell you something good. And when I worked in alternative ed, I'm going to tell you, parents never got good calls. By the time their students got to alternative education, those parents were tired. Okay, they're tired of you calling. So when I call like that, that threw them off. What? They did what? He did something nice. Like, are you talking about the same kid? Because when I had to call for something that was not so great, it always was well received because I have made a point of contact with that family. Even the most difficult families, that deep down inside, I'm like, Lord, please guide my mouth in my face, because y'all got the right teacher.
Right. That's right.
The right
That's
teacher.
right.
But I made sure to stay consistent and pour even more into those families that needed that extra set of love, and always told the family about our expectations in the classroom and what I expect from your student. And here's some things that we can be partners on. And so that leads me into collaborating and being that collaborative member of their family. Like when you mention family, Jennifer, that is so important to so many of them. You like, oh, how your Nana doing? You know, somebody bought me a sweet potato pie. I'm like, Lord, do I want to eat this? But you know, when you build those relationships, Nana's down there, she with a whole pie, and she want to bring it for the classroom. And you know, that's back when you didn't have to go to Publix and get a beautiful cake. But those were the relationship parts that helped me create the environment in which behavior was managed.
Tiffany, let me get in there, because I got to say this before you go any further. Let me back to something that the two of you said, that Jennifer said, as well as you, about consistency. Jennifer, I remember one of the things, and because I always had I ran a tight ship too, but one of the things that I remember when we're talking about being consistent is she would say, Langley, do not say something that you're not ready to act on,
that you can't back up.
Yes,
you cannot back up. She says, if you tell them, if you talk one more time, I'm going to snatch my eyebrows out and I'm going to glue them to this this board. She says, you better be ready to do it.
That's right.
So that is kind of the key. And that goes to the educators and these new teachers and these alternatively trained teachers when it comes to the art of behavior management. So it just stuck with me. And I remember that's such a practical advisement. Is do not tell them something you can't act on. So when she said that, I was like, okay, got it. Don't throw out a bunch of false tables,
empty threat.
No threat. If you say it, do it. So I'm sorry, Tiffany, I just had to throw that in there when you're talking about consistency and starting off on day one and with routine and structure. So okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's key. Like you always, that's number one. You never make empty threats or promises or things that you can't follow up on. So if you are, and I worked many years as a behavior specialist, and so that was one of the things is, as a teacher saying all of these things that they are gonna do, if you don't do this, you did not do it. So if you call me, I'm doing it for you, right? So that power you have to relinquish. So now you got to step back. So as many times I would sit in meetings with teachers and say, listen, once you call someone to help you with behavior, I want you to think of how we got there, because behavior does very rarely happens out of the blue. When you notice certain signs in a student, maybe they're tapping their pencil, they're pacing back and forth, that is your moment to intervene and be the calm. Like we can't join their chaos. When little people are having big emotions, right? We can't join the chaos. We have to share our calm. And so with my students, whenever, especially my little female students, Lord send some help, okay? When they would go with that piping, clapping, slapping, I'm like,
yes.
come into the room, Lord. I would talk in a lower tone, and I would just stay here because I knew here was safe, right?
That's right.
Why are you so calm? Why are you not? Because I want to share my calm with you. Because you are not rational right now. So when you're ready to speak to me, I'll be ready to talk to you, and I walk away. Most teachers, you'll see that conflict, that back and forth. I'm like, when you were in high school, you didn't have an argument with anybody because you don't. A kid is gonna win that argument.
Yeah,
that's right.
They will win in the end because what are you gonna do? So don't put yourself in that predicament. I love to talk to new teachers to just tell them the real. When I walk into this is real. This is gonna be real life strategies. This is not gonna be cute and fake and not get you through. This is gonna be real strategies that could help you be an amazing educator.
That's right.
So,
yeah,
Tonitia, I could talk about this all night.
Right. Hey, and listen, it need because of the dismal data about the mass exodus of teachers.
Yes,
we need to talk about it again.
You have to.
I'm so
it's got to be it's got to be real talk, Langley. It's got to be real talk.
Exactly.
Like you said, Tiffany, you cannot and I'm the one to do it because you cannot go in there and no, you have to lay it on the line. And it has to be real because they don't know. I mean, you go to college and it's all the and do this. And no, when you get into that school and it's you and 29 children looking at you, somebody has to tell you what really needs to happen. That's what needs to be.
And in the moment, like you need to know what to do and how to pivot
in the moment.
Like if your lesson is not going well, baby, stop teaching that and do a brain teaser or something. Try to get yourself back because you're you're almost like a comedian on stage. They're about to you about to get tomatoes thrown at you. You need to pivot. You gotta tell a dad joke. Tell a dad joke. My students are like, where did you go to school that you learned that? Like, what are you talking about? But I'm like, you're laughing,
and Tiffany too. What you said too about knowing the kids. So we have this thing now where we greet our kids at the door. And here's another real quick example. So I greet my kids every morning. I got my homeroom, and that's my interesting class. And so here comes one of my students who is labeled bad. And last year he threw a desk and blah blah blah, all this mess. And here he comes in, and we speak. I'm a good relationship with him, and I said, "Good morning, so and so." He walked by me. He had do-rag on, hood on the head. I said, "Good morning." Didn't speak. So I knew right then that there was an issue. And so many times you can stop behaviors before they even start if you know your kids.
Oh yeah.
And so I called and I said, "Hey, can somebody come talk to him?" Blah blah blah. So knowing your kids too will help a lot.
Knowing them and executing like you know them. That is also key, and it ties back into this masterclass with the art of behavior management, with understanding when your children, when you develop the relationship, which is something that Jennifer taught me. When you develop a relationship with them, what you're talking about, Tiffany, you can say, "Look, them, I need for you to sit down."
That's right.
Now you can do that and get the results. Now, the one who isn't consistent, who doesn't hold them accountable, and who hasn't taken the time to form a genuine relationship with them can't do that in order to implement those strategies, to have some effective behavior management. Because you know what, we could talk about this stuff. I could be like, look, the engineer be like, look, y'all can talk about this. I'm getting ready to go. So yes,
that's true. You're right, Lenny. So you can talk to your kids differently if they know that you truly love them. I've had a lot of interesting conversations with some of my children, but it was okay because they knew it came from a good place.
That's right.
So it's not the Susie, sit down. It's the sit down, and and they don't take it any offense because they know that you love them. And that's another thing too, in relationships and having a genuine love for your kids, because you can talk to them like that, but they don't take offense to it. And the parents know that you care about them because you've talked to them. So that's another important thing too, as well.
Yeah,
One of my
that's
favorite
very
topics.
true.
If you dropping some gems, Miss Lady.
You
You just
know,
look,
I mean,
take them to school in this master class with
Girl, I'm
behavior
trying.
management because
absolutely.
I am
We want to see educators stay. We want,
yes.
we don't want behavior to drive them away. And when we see these percentages of teachers leaving
Yeah.
because of disruptive
Oh my
behavior
God.
and not
Yes.
feeling that support, it's because
Mm-hmm.
you had an hour of classroom management in college and you thought you mastered it. When
Right.
absolutely not, you did not. You need to, I would think most teachers going in need to teach what people would consider the toughest group. Because when I say as a 20-year-old college student, they taught me my life. They
Mm-hmm.
taught me how to interact with everyone around me. Like it was really like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I need to take a step back. It was times where I just needed to shut up, not be quiet. Not be quiet. You need to shut up right now and kind
Mm-hmm.
of let these kids kind of guide you and show you how to be an effective educator. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what we are here to do.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
I love it from the teacher break room, from our PLCs, professional learning communities, from our water
Mm-hmm.
cooler and cafeteria conversation to
Yeah.
put it out here to the community, to the educators, to the stakeholders, to our families. This is what makes me feel so passionate about this platform, about having this opportunity given on Awesome Radio, to be able to have these discussions. Of course, in schools, in an educational community, they hear this. Great, you hear it. Okay, doesn't look like we're doing a good job, but don't get me started on that because Krajna get me going, and then we'll both get a hand smack. So putting these practical, as Tiffany is saying, practical things, and getting to know these kids, and hoping
Mm-hmm.
that we're able to bridge the gap and stop this flow of teachers like, listen, give me McDonald's for 7.50, please.
Right.
Because they're going somewhere, and they are not just leaving the district, they
Right.
are leaving the
The
industry and the
profession.
profession altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
this is some good stuff. So look, let me tell you some takeaways. I had a case study from Lincoln Elementary, but let me just do the key takeaways here that we've kind of in this master class from these two women of expertise regarding behavior management. Let me give some key takeaways for educators. So adopt a framework. Implementing a structured framework like PBS can provide a clear roadmap for behavior management. Fostering collaboration, heard that a lot between Jennifer and Tiffany in the masterclass. Involve various stakeholders, including teachers, administrators, and parents, ensures a unified approach. We kind of say they're not just my kid once they get here to school. They're your kids that we
Yes.
share together. So us having an effective partnership. I heard Tiffany mention that a couple times. I heard Jennifer mention that a couple of times. Invest in the training. Not going to talk about that too much because it depends on the district. It depends on how they're doing the funding. But
Mm-hmm.
ongoing professional development is crucial for effectively applying behavior management strategies. And I'm going to insert right here. Even though I'm no longer in an educational entity or district, what I do know from what I've heard, what I've read, what I've researched, doing this show, talking with educators still in educational entities, there needs to be a behavior management overhaul because I know I know the word pandemic, some say is wore out. Well, it may be behind us, but the aftermath is not. And one of the things that happened is it's hard to um, expect Bobo to have unstructure and to have some leisure with the grading. But we're not gonna go there, girls. We're not gonna go there.
Oh.
Have some leisure with academics, and then expect the same outcomes, and then expect for these teachers that have taught during this time to be able to implement and execute the same things. And I know, go ahead and pass the offering pan and put it in there because I'm gonna join in on this master class with behavior
Mm.
management. So I know that can be a touchy subject because we're talking about budgets. I don't know if you guys caught it about the New Jersey thing about teachers being um, laid off. But anyway, that's a whole nother show. Utilizing data, regularly collecting and analyzing behavioral data helps in assessing the effectiveness of interventions and making necessary adjustments. For those educators, for those stakeholders, for those administrators, for those families, if you're not clear on how to read that data, check in with these kids in order to get desired outcomes, please see these experts like these two women. Please see them. Please call them. Please email them. Okay. And I am so serious. But anyway, let me bring it on in because we're getting ready to close on out for today, because again, this is something that we can talk about forever and ever and ever in a day. But don't forget to share your thoughts and questions from previous shows, and email us if you have the topics. And again, this is Tonitia Langley, your educational enthusiast, thought leader, and show host for Let's Talk K-12 Education every Tuesday from 2 to 3. I want to thank you for tuning in today on Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. And I will put our guest information in our comment section. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next week.